Jack of all trades. Welcome back to the Get Up Girl with your gal and host Joanna Vargas. And I have my gal, Brynn Marie, back again. We're going to talk all about sex. Brynn has been here on the show before. She is a holistic health coach and fitness instructor and yogi master and everything under the sun and entrepreneur.
Barbie.
Barbie.
Remember
Yes.
how Barbie had all the jobs? She was like a veterinarian and a yoga teacher and a doctor.
You could just change her. Yes, you are Barbie, and you actually look just like her. I'm excited to talk, Brynn, because something that I would really like to bring to the forefront, and you and I have had side conversations, and even here on this show about sex, and to totally normalize sex talk and have it so that we can just chat, and it's not something that is hidden and something so taboo and something so shameful. So I do want to talk about the importance of sex life and, jump right into there. So let's go into the first question. How did you grow up, Brynn, with sex? It's such a big blanketed question, but what was your point of view growing up?
Yeah, so it's interesting that you ask this because I think people really learn about sex from our primary care figures, right? And from what our parents say, especially our moms, right? About sex, sexuality, what's sexy, what's bad, what's
Mhm.
good, what's naughty, what's right. Yeah, we learn all of that from growing up. So growing up in my household, um, I don't feel like sex was something that was super bad, but it was also like one of those things that I specifically remember. One of my mom's best friends, her daughter got pregnant when she was 16, and my mom looked at me and said, "Don't ever do that to me." Those were her words to me. And so from that moment on, I was probably in middle school at that time. And I was like, I'm terrified to have sex because I don't want to break my mom's heart. Like that's what I like equated that with. Um and then I remember one time my dad having a conversation with me in the car and he was like basically what like okay, this was super awkward because if you knew my dad you'd be like, "Okay, no." Like it was
Yeah,
one of those things where I was like, "No, dad, like we're okay, so can we be done now?" Like
yeah.
it was like a one time like conversation where he was like basically said if I got pregnant while I was in high school or like lived under their roof, that like it would be taken care of
Uh-huh.
and like I would like lose all my privileges, like my cell phone and like anything he paid for. And so I basically was like, okay, don't have sex because you're going to get pregnant and then you're going to get in a lot of trouble. And I didn't know anything about sex, how you got pregnant, how you didn't get pregnant, um, about my cycle, when you could even get pregnant. Like none of that was expressed or taught to me. I just was like, oh, sex is bad because I could get in a lot of trouble, right? Or I could become pregnant at a young age and be in trouble. I didn't know anything else about it or how sacred it was or how important it was or anything. I just was like, trouble, right? Like I get in trouble. I'll
Yeah.
break my parents' hearts. I'll get kicked out of my house or I'll get my privileges taken away. And then the other thing is I grew up as a competitive gymnast and competitive dancer. And so I didn't really feel like I had time to think about relationships or even have a boyfriend to have sex with, or whatever you like, girlfriend, boyfriend, because I was focused on my sports or on my art. I was focused on competing. And so I was like, okay, if I always just equated like having sex means you could get pregnant. And I was like, I can't be pregnant because then I can't dance. And that's like how sex was for me in high school.
Brynn, I never put two and two together until you said that. But you know what? I had the same thing and I never articulated it.
Mm,
It was like I was so afraid of getting pregnant. And
yeah.
I remember one time I was a virgin and I think I was like 14 or 15 and I was under so much stress from my dance team, same thing, and high
Hmm.
school. And I didn't have my period for a couple months and I thought I was pregnant
And
because
you hadn't even had sex?
no, that
Yeah,
sounds
see?
crazy because I was so afraid.
I
I'm like,
know.
but I must be because
I
how
know.
could I not have my period? But it was
Like the
because,
frickin' Virgin Mary or
yeah,
something.
like
Yeah.
the Virgin Mary. Oh, Vanessa's here. Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa, we're going to add you in. Welcome to the chat, Vanessa. There you go,
Hi.
Vanessa Eubanks. Hi,
I
Vanessa,
come
you
on
made it.
I come on in and all I hear is like periods. And I was like, whoa.
Perfect timing. Periods and
Vanessa,
sex.
Yeah, Brynn
beautiful
and I actually know each other.
Vanessa.
Vanessa, this is Brynn.
Yes, we
Yeah,
know each other.
we know each other.
Oh, you do? Are you freaking serious? No.
I love Vanessa. I love me some Vanessa.
Yeah, we know
Wait,
each other
That's a
well.
homie. That's a homie right there.
how the heck do you two know each other?
We
We
know
used
each
to
other
teach
from
real
Core
quick.
Power. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, really? Okay, so this is like a good. Okay, this is not like.
No, it's a good type of know each other.
Yeah, we're not strangers.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, well, Vanessa. Okay, same question to you. We're gonna throw you in right
Oh, I
in
love
the
it.
mix.
Throw me in, please.
What was your upbringing with sex? What was the first thing that you can remember? Like, what kind of messages did you receive?
From my parents?
Sure, whatever it may
Okay.
be.
So I feel like I mostly, as a child, my parents never really talked to me about it, but I would hear them talk to each other or like their friends. Sorry, I'm trying to find more light in this house.
Yeah. That's
I would hear them mostly like talk to each other about it or like talk about it in front of me. Like I remember them talking to their friends and being like, "Oh yeah, in my upbringing, we didn't talk. Our parents didn't talk about it, but we heard about it from friends or whatever." And they never really did. But then I just remember this really one awkward car drive with my dad when he was teaching me how to drive when I was like 16. And he was like, "You should always stay a virgin." And by that point, like my virginity was long gone. So, but I remember what they did do though, was they always bought me books like to read. And I found the information myself. I used to read, I still read, I read a lot. I've always read a lot. So they bought me books and that's how I learned about sex.
Okay, so both of you then, did you either, and I'm assuming it's no, but did you either get the sex talk from your parents or did it just never happen?
Nope, never happened.
Not really. Yeah, like I said, I had that one awkward like conversation with my dad in the car, but I wouldn't really call that a sex talk. It was
Yeah.
more like a like threat. And then I was
Yeah,
like,
like
got
a
it.
shaming, right?
Fear of God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is so great. I love having these chats because in my little brain or my big brain, I think that everybody had the sex chat. I live in this like fantasy world. Wow. Okay, then Brynn, question to you. How did you learn about it? Like literally how it worked. I'm talking about body parts.
Through experience, I guess.
Oh, did you find out like you're with your partner and you're learning at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Wow.
there's like a natural part to sex, right? Like I think we're
Yeah.
all sexual beings, obviously. And so like to me it's silly like in today's day and age to like not talk to your kids about sex or not explain to your young teenage girl how her cycle works or like how you can get pregnant or not or what sex with a partner means. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I think I just learned like through experience and because we're like sexual creatures, I think I just like part of me
Kind of new.
kind of knew like I figured out on my own where my body parts were just
Like,
by
I want
playing,
that
you
to go
know,
here.
myself and yeah, and then yeah, I think sex was really strange and horrible actually at first when I was in college, when I even as a young adult, like I think back to some of the sexual experiences I've had and I think like, oh, that was not it. Like that was not it, you know? But
Yeah.
I didn't know. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, you just learn as you go, I guess.
Oh, this is interesting. These are juicy. Okay, Vanessa, for you, how did you learn then?
Books from reading.
Books. Okay.
Mhm.
How old are you then?
I was like maybe 8.
Ooh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I would like go looking for these books in the library. Like I would like search for the books that were about, and they weren't just about sex. They were mostly about like bodies like changing and so forth. And then that led into sex. But I was interested in all of it. Like I wanted to know about period. I wanted to know about everything. So like I would go find the books that talked about it and then I would read it. And that's how I learned. And I remember being very, very ahead of my peers. Like I remember when we got in Catholic school, they call it family life. And they basically have like some nun or principal or whatever come in and teach you about sex. And I remember being very advanced in my knowledge as opposed to my peers because I would read a lot about it. Oh, there was this experience. You're going to like this one. So my mom used to be a nurse. and she took me to a health fair. And I remember they were having people like put condoms on bananas, like at the health fair. And
Stop.
I observed my brother do it, and like it was just like definitely not something I should have seen at that young of an age. But yeah, that was it too. And I remember me knowing about that was also very ahead of my peers. Like I remember in family life talking about condoms, and nobody had any idea at the age of
Even what a condom was.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, gals, when you discovered, or let's say the first time you had sex, how long did it take you to feel comfortable with it? Was it right away? Like you were saying, Brynn, you're like, you look back and you're like, okay, that was not it. How long did it take you? Like, I'm very curious.
Actually, I'm glad you asked this. Sex is obviously different with different partners. And I think sex is like such a big energy transfer, right? Like I feel like you're sharing something like really energetic, really like high frequency vibrations, right? With someone when you're having sex with them. I remember like not ever feeling quite satisfied
We get you.
fully with sex. And even if I had an orgasm, I still was like,
Mhm.
you know, after that feeling of being like, I don't know if that's like what I'm supposed to feel
Mhm.
like you think it's going to be like magical or like you're going to feel different about yourself. And then sometimes I would feel like worse or like it wasn't magical. Even if I had the big O, I still was like, I don't that like I there was something that was not satisfied. I still wasn't satisfied. I feel like I became satisfied with sex for me personally when I was having sex with my current partner, who is my fiance, who is the love of my life, who's someone that I feel really safe with, where I can actually like feel like I can release into a space where where I feel safe enough to like fully relax into it. You know what I mean? Because it's like every time, and I think I was saying this to you the other day, like every time a man like lays on top of us, we're like putting our lives at risk. Like this man could crush me. I think he could kill me with his hands for sure. You know what I mean? Like for sure. My two hands don't even fit around his neck. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
every time I lay down to have sex with this person, right, my partner, I'm trusting him. Like, and that trust allows me to relax enough into my own body to like really feel and like really enjoy the experience and really like get the chemicals moving, right? And actually have the full experience, not just an orgasm, not just sex, not just like this fun time, but like an actual more like explosive experience in my body. And I feel like I didn't feel that. Like it didn't get good like that until like I was having sex with someone I felt really connected to and safe with. And I also at the same time was doing a lot of growth, personal growth and development and exploration in my own femininity. And it wasn't until I tapped more into my divine feminine that I felt like I could really enjoy sex, thinking like my pussy's not gross, it's fucking beautiful. You know, this is a portal. This is magic. This shit is magic. You know, like it wasn't until I like felt like that, like it wasn't until I wanted to fuck myself that I really enjoyed like someone else fucking me. You know what I mean?
If you don't want to be with you, then yeah.
Exactly. It's a self-esteem, inner confidence thing too, I think, to have that full like sex experience and really not feel bad about it.
Brynn, when you told me that the other day, I had never thought of it that way. It was mind blowing because I'm like, you're absolutely right. This man can do whatever he wants with me right now. Physically, he can hurt me. He can literally crush me. And I've had that feeling like when they're heavy, if you're with a bigger partner and you're like, oh my God, literally, I can't breathe. Yeah, I understand. Wow. I never put two and two together to go, yeah, there's a lot of safety and feeling safe. And then you can fully release.
Yeah. And the mental safety of being like, this person's not judging me. This person like loves me. So I feel like, you know, and I think you could have great sex with someone who you're not in love with also. Like I know that that does happen too. But then there's some sort of connection where you're like, I trust, or I feel safe. This person created a safe enough space for me, or I feel good enough about myself that like I can fully enjoy this experience. It doesn't have to be, I guess, like someone that you're in love with. Some people love to have sex and it's completely separate from love. I know that that's fine, you know? But like, yeah, there's some sort of like feeling of being like, I know I'm not being judged, or like, I know that I'm not being, yeah, I guess judge is the right word. Yeah. Like, you know, that I can embrace my body and like the way I sound while I'm having sex, the way I move, like all of it, that I'm not like that person is like enjoying that. And yeah. And then also like enjoying it yourself, like being like, I think this is sexy. Because sexy is like not a specific, there's no definition for what it is. There's no specific look or whatever. It's whatever makes you feel. It's confidence. It's confidence. Confidence is sexy.
Yeah. With my partner, I am energetically connected to him and there is no judgment there. And now I have contrast to see past partners and go, wow, I was energetically picking up their judgments and I didn't realize it. So when I was with them, I wanted the lights off. I was like, don't look at me. And I'm going, who is this? This is not me. But I could feel their judgments energetically and I was picking them up and then believing that I did not enjoy my body. Now, my boyfriend, I'm like, he genuinely just loves every inch morsel of my body. So I'm like, walking around naked.
Yeah.
Such confidence. Yeah. So beautiful. So I totally get that, Brynn.
Yeah. And some of that's about your partner and your connection to him. And some of it's about you and like the growth that you've personally done to feel comfortable and feel hot in your body, which is so important for women, right? We can't enjoy good sex, really, truthfully, no matter if our partner's a fucking supermodel, like 8-pack, sexy chocolate man, right? Like I can't enjoy him unless like I really, really love myself and enjoy myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Vennesa, how about for you? How long did it take? Was it quick, like after your first partner, that you really started to feel connected with you? Or have you even felt it yet?
So I remember like, at least when I was younger, like my first couple experiences, like Brynn said, were quite awful. Like a lot of like, first of all, it really hurt like so bad. Like it wasn't even enjoyable. And then the people I was with, usually like I felt very pressured, you know, like usually it was a boyfriend who was like, you know, really, really, you know, pressuring me. Like it didn't feel like energetically right back then. But I feel kind of like what Brynn said, like until I started like having sex with people that I actually that like, you know, boyfriend or my husband now, like that I actually had a really close connection with. And kind of like you said, like I'd never really felt comfortable like being just like naked walking around until my husband, you know. He's seen me at every vulnerable state of my life. I mean, obviously I had 2 children in front of him. So and like Brynn said, it's a portal. Like I've brought fucking life into this world 2 times, you know?
Yes,
like,
sister. Yes.
Yes.
And you're a damn good mom. Come on.
Thank you. I am a damn good mom. Thank you. I love you. But yeah, so I mean, I feel like at this point I am at utmost vulnerability now. Like before it would be like, oh, like how do I look from this angle? Like, oh, I know I look good on this side, you know, like that's how it would be. Like even with like boyfriends, even with people that I really did care a lot about. Actually, I'm not going to say love because I really don't think I knew love until now, but people that I really cared about. And yeah, I was always like, I don't even think they were judging me. I think I was judging myself. And then I'm like, oh, like my hair looks good on this side. Oh, I want to make sure my hair is like always in front. You know what I mean? Like all this stuff that was ridiculous. And then now that I could literally reach vulnerability, I can like look like this, like, you know, like glasses on and in a sweater and be like, yeah, like I know he thinks I am the most beautiful woman in the world because he really does.
Yes. This is such a beautiful feeling. Oh, shout out to our partners. Yes.
Yes.
For them. Yes.
Honestly, my partner is the best. And you know, the thing that I will say is we are married with 2 kids and I feel like it's going to make me cry even just thinking about it. But I feel like a lot of women, and I've seen it in like friends, you know, marriages or whatnot, like a lot of times after they have a baby
and they don't look the way they did before they had the baby, they feel like less attractive, or they feel their husbands act differently towards them, or they don't feel desired. Like, I will honestly say that I've never felt less desired. If anything, I'm more desired now. Yeah, it's so beautiful that obviously I have stretch marks. I have things on my body that I didn't have before having kids, and he likes it better. He's like, yeah, you've brought kids into this world, and he calls it, like, I have like stretch marks on my lower belly. So I always wear my pants high. And he's like, that was my children's home, like, so yeah, it makes me cry. Like, I've never seen another friend. Oh, actually, maybe I have some friends that have experienced that, but I have also seen the contrary, where I've seen, like, friends who feel ugly now, or friends who don't feel their partner doesn't make them feel good, like, yeah, he's never made me feel any less than I did, when I was pre-child.
Vennesa, he sounds amazing.
Oh my
Send
gosh, he
him our
is. He just
love.
got me these headphones right now. Like, look how amazing is that?
Yes. Yesterday, well, if you're watching this in real time, but the podcast will come out later. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and I was like celebrating women, and then also I'm like celebrating the men who lifted those women up for thousands and
Yes.
thousands of years. Thank you,
Come
men.
on.
And
Yes.
women, thank you for paving the way. Like, yes,
Seriously.
it was like a celebration of just humankind. It was so beautiful. So yeah, love that. Okay, another question, because this one's for me and I love it. I love to ask my girlfriends this. When you gals are feeling like not in the mood, right? But you would love to share something with your partner that evening, day, whatever. What are some things that you do to move into it, to shift your energy so that you can create that? Jump in, whoever.
So I know for me, sometimes it's late. We have 2 kids, and we are a no screen time. Like, my kids don't get any screen time. So the chances for us to really be alone are probably less. And we live far away. We live in another state. We have no family around. So every time we go out, just us, we have to hire a sitter, and which is fine. But my point is that we don't really have a lot of alone time that's not in the middle of the night. So anytime that we're going to be alone, it's usually at night after the kids go to bed, which they do go to bed early. It's fantastic. Usually they're in bed by 7:30. But my husband works a lot, and I work. My business is, I'm starting my business, so I'm working a lot as well, but he works a lot. And to me, that is sexy. Like, that's so sexy that he's providing for my family. And like, he stayed up till 1 working last night. So if like he wants to have sex at 1 a.m., I'm like, well, yeah, he is what he bought this house. So, I mean, like, and so that to me moves me in enough to know that, like, that mentally brings me in enough to know, like, he did this, like, that's sexy. That's hot to me. So yeah, I can move into this space because like he's working so hard for our family. And I think if it's like a weekend, a day where he's not working, he just, wants some, and, the kids are asleep, I usually will tell him like what to do. Like, okay, well, maybe if you give me a massage, can you start with a massage? Let's start there. And then like, I'll help him. I'll give him the cues,
Vennesa, those were fantastic. I'm literally putting that one in my back pocket. I love that, to think, oh yeah, he did this, and it'll turn me on.
Yes.
So simple, but I got it. Thank you.
Yes.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, I have a little bit different. Wait, what'd you say?
Brynn, what's yours?
Oh, I was going to say, I have a little different like take on this and experience. So I love like hearing other people's stories. Like, it's so interesting because I'm like, wow, what an interesting dynamic. And then I'm sitting here thinking, for me, I'm the one who's always like ready and on. Like, I don't know, I'm some type of freak, but like, you guys, I'm the one who's like, let's have sex. And he's like, we just had sex this morning. And I'm like, I'm ready again. Like, I don't know. It's probably also because I'm 30 and he's 44. And so I'm all like, yeah. And he's like, you need like a 17-year-old boyfriend. That'd probably be who's more compatible with me sexually. No, but my man and I have great sex. But like, one of the things that I had to learn was like, I don't have to have sex with you every time you want to. You also have to have sex with me when I want to. And there has to be this balance that we build where there were times where I was saying yes to sex when I actually meant to say no.
Mm.
And I wasn't respecting myself or what I actually wanted. And so it would be like, for example, I like to have sex either in the middle of the day, like if he was to come home at like 2, like right after, oh man, it's over. Okay. It's on. Or like in the evening, right? Like at night. And for him, he's a morning person and wakes up at 6 a.m. like all spooning me, like doot, doot. And I'm like, excuse me, like I'm trying to sleep in, So I'm like, I wanted to have sex last night. And I felt like for a while, I was just going along with like, oh, every time he wanted to have sex in the morning, I would just do it because I felt like, oh my God, this is my only opportunity. So I have to say yes. And I had a lack mentality around it, right? Because I was just saying yes because I was like, this is when he's offering. And then I was like, wait, hell no. Like sometimes he's going to have sex with me in the evening when I'm the most turned on, when I'm going to have the best orgasm, when my pussy's the most wet, when I'm like, you know what I mean? Like when I want to versus like sometimes in the morning, I wouldn't be able to have an orgasm or I would feel that like pressure, when you're like, oh my God, I'm taking too long. It's taking too long. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, it's not going to happen because I'm asleep. I feel like I'm numb. I don't know, not numb, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm tight. I'm
It's
not
off.
even yes. I'm turned off. My eyes are not even open. I can't even open my eyes to like see what's going on. I'm not a morning person. And so I was catching myself saying yes out of a lack mentality of like, this is my only shot. This is my only chance to have sex with my partners when he wants it. So I had to learn to like really stand up for myself and go like, and be confident in saying not right now, knowing he was doing that to me at night. I was afraid to tell him no, thinking like, oh, then he's gonna be mad or da da da. And it's like, wait a second. If he can say no to me in the evening because he's tired, I can say no to him the next morning because I'm tired,
Mhm.
and that became a better practice for me because now I feel like we each get to take turns having sex when it's ideal for us. Where like
Mhm.
the other night, I was like, you told me that when we got home, it was on, and now you're falling asleep. And so he ended up having sex with me with his eyes shut, still gave it to me, but I was like laughing because he was like literally sleeping. I was like, I'll get on top, whatever. Like, I'm doing what I want tonight, The next morning we were laughing because we were in the shower together and he was like, oh my God. He goes, last night I was sleeping. I don't know what happened. And I said, well, I think you did know what happened because you were still giving it to me. And he's like, no. He's like, I was sleeping. And I was like, well, that's how I feel sometimes in the morning when you want to have sex. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I'm sleeping. And so, it's like there's times where we align and we're both turned on at the same time. And then there's other times where we're just not. And like, I just had to learn to say, like, I had to learn to be brave enough to say, like, I'm not into it right now. The same way that he would do that to me so that I could start to have sex at some of the times I wanted to. And he's going to want to do it because he's like, damn, like, then he's also like, this is my shot. You know what I mean? Like, and then all of a sudden we have this more mutual respect for each other of like the timing, I guess,
I love these conversations. I love them. They're such a contribution. I thank you, gals, for sharing this because I started these girl chats and we started the first one talking about sex. And everybody's like, you know what? More of this.
Yeah.
More.
People love to talk about sex.
Yes. Yeah.
They just don't do it because there's so much like shame or embarrassment or whatever you were taught when you were like, or it's like your mom said it was like bad or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You could bring it up and you can even feel the room kind of like quiet. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Especially, I don't know about you, Brynn, but I know that you're Latina, Joanna, especially in our culture, like it's so shameful to talk
Mhm.
about sex or.
Yep. That's what, yeah. It was like, don't get pregnant. Yeah. That was another
Mhm.
thing. I heard, don't bring another human being home. But what it meant was, don't bring a baby home. No more, you only one human being, not two. One. But that was the way of saying, don't get pregnant. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, shoot. That's so much fear. Thank you so much for being open and being willing to share this with us and everybody listening. Truly appreciate it. Everybody, please swipe up on the show notes and follow Brynn and Vennesa. And then if you want more sex talk, please let me know. DM me on Instagram. This is such a gift.
Joanna, with your title, The Importance of Sex in Your Life, I just want to remind all the women out there that sex is important. If you're not having good sex in your relationship, like, it is important, and it's not the most important thing. If you have a really great connection with someone, you can have a happy relationship and maybe not have sex all the time, or I don't know, some people are in long distance relationships or whatever works for you. And I think the key is we all have to figure out what our own sexually empowered life looks like, because it's not the same for everybody. The way you like to have sex might be different than like your friends, who you like to have sex with, how many partners you like to have sex with. All of it can be different. And I think there's sometimes this like stereotyping around sex, or like what's right and what's good and what's not. And it's like, no, just whatever turns you on, like that is right for you. If it's a woman today and a man tomorrow, that's fine. If it's two men at once, that's fine. Like whatever your sexually empowered life is, I feel like we should live that, and like take ownership over it. Cause I really think, like, no shame, like sex is important. Like we wouldn't have been built by God with these organs that feel and all of this if we weren't meant to be like pleasured and actually like feel it, So it's like, why not embrace that? And like, think about all the happy chemicals. Like I pulled up this Instagram post I love that's like hugging a loved one creates oxytocin in your body, and like physical touch and sex creates endorphins, and like dopamine, the reward chemical, is also and serotonin. All of those happy chemicals are created when we touch, when we hug, when we snuggle, when we kiss. Ooh, women love kissing, right? When we kiss, when we have sex. So it's like, hello, like these are positive chemicals being created in our bodies just for having sex. We're being rewarded for pleasure in this area of our lives. So like, if you have a shame story around sex, I think the first step is like to rewrite that and like, move through that, and then like really figure out what your sexually empowered life is so that you can have these experiences, so you can live it. Yeah. That's the importance of sex in your life.
And even post-children, ladies, post-children, it's still important to have sex, especially if you want more, because there's no way you're going to have more.
Unless you're the Virgin Mary.
That's true.
That's when Vennesa came in on the beginning. I was a virgin. I thought I was pregnant because these things that your brain. Brynn, that was perfect. Everybody, Brynn is a podcaster as well, if you can't tell. But yeah, so follow her podcast at Brynn Moves. But thank you for bringing that up. That was a nice round out. Yeah. And also sometimes sex is not always just copulation, the two body parts together, or whatever body parts you want to put together. It could be, like you said, hugging, kissing, also taking a shower together. So many intimate and different. Taking a walk.
You were going to say taking a shit.
That's another show, Vennesa. That's the next show.
I'm sorry, I just laughed so hard in my mic. Not expecting you to say it.
I was like,
so sorry for everyone's ears. I was like, ah! I was like cackling just now. Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, Salome is laughing. Love you, ladies. Yeah, OMG. She's commenting. Thank you all for listening and for listening to our sex talk. We'll be back next month with 2 more gals, or maybe bring in some gentleman energy, and we'll be talking about sex again. And thank you. Love you all dearly. And we will see you next time on The Get Up Girl. Bye, y'all.